Right, now let's talk about conditionals. So basically, a conditional, which is also called an if-then, is a statement that only runs certain code if a given condition is true. So there's a couple of real-world examples here of conditionals. So like, if it's raining outside, then you should probably grab an umbrella. If you're driving over the speed limit, you probably slow down. And if your Java practical exam is coming up, then you should cry. Galbraith, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. And so we have different types of conditionals. There's three main ones that you're probably going to use in this class: if, else if, and else. And these guys kind of go together, as you'll see in a little bit. But to use a conditional, we need a logical operator. So these are less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, which I have a little note about, and then is not equal to. And this means and this means or. So a little note about the equal sign is that notice how there's a double equal sign, but you've seen a single equal sign before, like when you say x equals 5. The difference here is that you want to use a double equals when you're comparing two variables. So if you're comparing if x is equal to 2, then you're going to use a double equals sign. So for example, if you want to run code only if x equals 2, then you use this. But if you're just saying x equals 2, then like you're trying to set the value of x to 2, you need a single equal sign. It's a little confusing, but basically anytime you're using an if statement or other conditionals, you're probably going to use a double equal sign. Alright, so here's the recipe for conditional. You start by saying what the conditional is, so that's like if, else if, or else. So let's try this with if. And then you have a logical condition, so that was on the previous slide, like one of these. You can say like x is less than 5, so if x is less than 5, and then you put these brackets here. And then inside of those brackets, you're going to put the code that you want to run if x is less than 5. So let's take a look at this in live coding. Right, let's do this. So let's first start with making a variable. I'm going to say int x equals 5. Okay, now we're going to do a couple things with this. Let's write an if statement, a conditional, to determine if x is 5. So we're going to say if x equals 5. Remember, you use a double equals whenever we're doing conditionals. And then we make our brackets. Okay, and then inside here we're going to write what we want to do if x is 5. So we're going to type sys out, and then we're going to type whatever we want to say. So I'm going to say x is 5. Cool. Hypothetically, this should work. There you go, x is 5. Alright, what happens if we change x to 6? This shouldn't run and the program should print nothing because x is not 5. Let's try it out. Yep, nothing happened. Okay, so let's say we want to add a case for all other instances of x that are not 5. So if x is 7 or 8 or whatever, we also want to print something out for that. The way we can do that is we can say else, and then we can do our brackets. And else means any other case that is not listed right above it, basically. So we can say else, we can print x is not 5. Alright, let's try that out. X is not 5 because x is 6. Alright, let's say we wanted to have a couple other cases though. So we want to watch out for 5, but maybe we also want to watch out for 4. So in this case, we'd want to have an else if, because this acts as another if statement. It's kind of attached to the first one, so it's like if x is 5, and then if it's not that, else if x equals 4, then do something here. Otherwise, if it's not either of these two cases, we finally run our else. So you can have as many else ifs as you want, but typically you have a singular if, and then a whole bunch of else ifs if you need multiple cases, and then one final else for all other cases that you did not specify. So let's print out x is 4 here. Let's try it out. Right, x is not 5. Cool. If we try 4, x is 4. Awesome. If we try 5, x is 5. Cool. Looks like we got all our cases down. All right. Now let's try a couple things with the or and the and operators. So if you remember down here, I'm going to type, so this one, the two poles, those mean or, and the two ampersands mean and. So we can say if x equals 5 or x equals 4, we can actually get rid of this guy then because he's redundant. We can say x equals 5 or 4. Does that make sense right here? So we're saying we're starting with if x equals 5, then you can do this, or if x equals 4, then you can also run this. Let's try it out. X is 5 or 4. Awesome. Let's try it out with 4, make sure that works too. There it is. X is 5 or 4. Okay. Let's try introducing another variable. So we could say int y equals 5. Now we can have an opportunity to use the and. So we can try something like if x equals 5 and y, or let's make this an and. Oops. And y equals 4, we can say, like, I can just change this to something simple like, yay. Else, I'm just gonna make this a sad face. Alright, let's try it out. Oh, sad face, because x is not 5 and y is not 4. Alright, let's try it so that it matches it. So x is 5 and y is 4. Let's try it out. There you go. Yay. Awesome. Now we can try other operations like greater than or equal to, or not equal to, or less than or equal to, and kind of play around with it. But this is just a basic example of what you can do with conditionals.